Hi, this is Ryan McReynolds, one of the Republican candidates for State Representative in the 94th District, and I have an interesting story to tell you. Now, I don't know if this was actually a true story or if it was a fictionalized story, although it is one that sounds like it could be a true story. But it is a story that I got informed of in legal rights class at post-secondary transitional program back when I was attending school there. Especially considering that, one of the purposes of that class was so that students attending who happen to have disabilities and all that and stuff would be able to learn about, various different legal rights and all that. Well, anyways, this story that I learned in the class, I don't know if it's a true story, I don't know if it's fiction, but if anybody has any idea if it's truth, after all, please inform me of this, okay? I mean, it sounds like it's a true story. But anyways, in this story, it goes that a woman in a wheelchair wanted to go before the city council because of some stuff going on in her neighborhood, such as certain teenagers being rowdy, and the fact that it was disturbing her, and she wanted some action taken on the whole thing, because it was like causing a major public disturbance, and she was among those getting disturbed by it, and she wanted to go before the city council for it, to talk about it, to inform them. However, it turns out the floor in City Hall where the council meetings were held was on a floor that she had no access to because there was not an elevator in the building, and she happened to be in a wheelchair. How was she going to get to the meeting if there was no elevator for her to get into? So, according to the story, she ends up filing a complaint about there being no elevator for her to be able to access council meetings. And then she gets informed that, one of the council members tried to get something like this done, but it got rejected by others on the council. So in the rest of the story, they talk about, how she tries hard as she can to get them to listen. Somewhere in the story, the council decides to hold the meeting not in the council building, but in the library instead, which is wheelchair accessible, which means she is able to attend. And she says, it's very good of them to have done this, but I'm not done yet in my battle. I'm still going to fight on. And, like I said, I don't know if it's a true story or not, but it sounds like it could be. Because I do know that people in wheelchairs have had to fight, to be able to get access to places. And so have people who are blind as well. And then there's, had, of course, be battles to make sure that people who are deaf are able to have interpreters around with them in places including schools and all that. And, these days there actually are colleges and universities where people who are deaf happen to have interpreters available. People who are blind are able to have booklets printed for them in Braille, or some sort of computerized technological stuff to help out too, because there actually are things with computers that allow for the blind to be able to hear the sounds and thus know what words are being said if they want to go on the internet and all that. In fact, I've even actually gotten to talk online with a couple of people who are blind, and I was like, wow, and amazed, because who would have thought, that people who are blind would ever actually be able to have internet access anyways, but that's because there's all this equipment around that, brings about recordings of words that are being said, as well as, being able to get a feel of the keyboards and know exactly where the keys are. And now I'd be able to type this or that word on their computer keyboard. I mean, granted, we have definitely come a long ways, and I even remember when I heard about a blind man who ended up becoming judge. And I thought that was pretty cool, and so yeah, in essence, we have come a long ways, since the days when, disabled were looked down upon, or weren't getting any needed accommodations, or all that. Kind of like, for instance, it used to be in the old days that if you put your child in special ed, you, the parent, were looked down upon for having a child in special ed, but nowadays it's like, wow, on the way things have progressed since, because it used to be that special education got used as a dumping ground, but then things changed where reviews could be done to determine if there was any specified class where a student classified as disabled or special needs or whatever could take certain regular classes. Like, for instance, with myself, I know that being able to take classes related to social studies, history, and geography and regular ed settings was like alright in that case because of how good I was with those subjects, but there were some subjects where I definitely needed the special education room and all that, and it had helped out greatly, And I know in my first and second year of high school, I'd actually taken French, also known in the French language as Francais. And there's definitely still a bunch of French phrases that I remember to this day. I mean, I have to go through sometimes and figure which ones I remember, but there's been times, when telemarketers have called and I've said to them, "Je ne parle pas anglais, parlez-vous français?" which means, "I don't speak English, do you speak French?" It's gotten them off the phone too, And, I mean, we have come a long ways, but there's still a whole lot that needs to be done, because to this day, there are discriminations that unfortunately still go on against disabled and all that, and there are even some people with my disability of autism who are not as lucky as I am to have gotten to where I am right now, including, being a candidate for office. And so, as a state rep, if I get elected, I definitely plan to advocate for people with autism and other disabilities. Anyways, thank you for watching, and God bless.